1992's Wayne's World, adapted from the massively popular Saturday Night Live sketches, was a movie that shouldn't have worked. Two one-note characters lusting after supermodels, spouting catchphrases, felt like a concept that should have only worked in 3 to 4 minute increments. But the film was brilliantly written by Mike Myers and husband and wife duo Bonnie and Terry Turner. It was also masterfully directed by Penelope Spheris. The film was a massive hit for Paramount, grossing $183 million. But more importantly, the film was really funny.
Who wants Chinese takeout?
I'll have the cream of some young guy.
As a 12-year-old kid, Wayne's World was a film I watched more times than I could count. It beautifully walks the line of being super immature, but also super self-aware. I'll never forget the product placement scene, an immensely original bit at the time.
Contractor, no. I will not bow to any sponsor.
That feels like a scene that could have been ripped out of a Ryan Reynolds movie shot today. The movie's success falls on its heroes, Wayne Campbell and Garth Algar, for being so damn likable. But a question has always plagued this film. Did Wayne's Mike Myers and Garth's Dana Carvey actually hate each other in real life? It turns out, maybe. And while hate may be a strong word, the two clearly had a rivalry.
We were like siblings a little bit, and we were never meant to be a comedy team. Mike just invited me into the sketch.
While they may not have been meant to be a comedy duo, I'm going to show you how their sibling rivalry actually made the film even better. To break this topic down, you really got to start with Mike Myers. A lot of people in this industry have labeled him as difficult or egomaniac. Saturday Night Live creator Lorne Michaels put it most bluntly. I know you can make a really strong case against Mike because he's clearly frustrated and angered so many people. But I also think that it's not coming from any place of malice, and that he only cares about getting it right. People who want to get things off their desk shouldn't work with Mike Myers. Getting Wayne's World right was a big pressure for Mike Myers. This was his first big movie, and his first real shot. Sources have stated that Mike Myers felt insecure about Dana Carvey and did not want Garth to participate in Wayne's World at all. Today, Carvey calls the notion ridiculous. However, in 1991, not only was Mike potentially worried about sharing creative credit, after years of popularity on Saturday Night Live, Dana Carvey was the bigger name. So much so that Paramount studio executives insisted that Wayne and Garth have equal screen time. Because of Carvey's popularity, he was also offered $1 million and 10% of net profits, while Myers was paid about half, only $600,000 and 2.5% of the profits. This clearly could have upset Myers given that Wayne's World was his idea. Lorne Michaels does confirm this in a quote. They say Dana's got to be paid almost twice as much, and now you can't get the picture to go without him. And Dana's saying, I could do this other movie instead. There's a little bit of sibling torture on both sides. Even after Paramount's insistence, Mike Myers' script still didn't give Garth anything to do. So a few weeks before production, Dana Carvey actually quit the movie.
Mike was writing it. I was putting stuff in, but then I would see that the stuff wasn't in anymore. And so I actually, 3 weeks before we started shooting, I said, no thanks, but no thanks. I actually quit the movie. I didn't think of the money and fame. I swear to God. I just thought, well, I have nothing to do in the movie, so that's cool.
They obviously did win Dana Carvey back by offering him the chance to stitch together more scenes for Garth on the fly.
I just wove in, if you're going to spew in this, right. I was still being the sidekick and respectfully just wove a part for me in the movie.
Director Penelope Spheris also confirms this on the DVD commentary track.
This whole drum sequence coming up here was like, how do we have something for Garth to be doing during this scene? This is hilarious here because, again, it's like, what does Garth do during this scene? Oh, he has a phobia of heights. And it's hard, too, we're working with the both of them, to have Mike having to sit there for 8 hours and not do anything, while Dana is, doing the whole show. But that's the way Lorne taught them, is to just to compete with each other and try to steal the scene.
Lorne Michaels, indeed, breeds his talent to succeed in competition. But it was ironically Lorne himself that actually fueled Carvey's feud with Myers years after Wayne's World. Many at Saturday Night Live, including Dana Carvey, felt that Myers borrowed too much from Carvey's impression of Lorne Michaels as the inspiration for Dr. Evil. Carvey later admitted this in the Howard Stern show.
I finally did the impression for Lorne. It's a thing, and this thing of like, you never underestimate the value of water. The pinky thing was a made-up thing. Lorne doesn't do that, but somehow it fit.
You came up with the pinky thing.
Well, the pinky thing I did do, yes. Yeah.
There he also expressed how he let that anger go.
Was there a rift over the Dr. Evil character?
We never really talked about it. I talked about it to the therapist, and I basically let it go.
It was later after Wayne's World, with this whole Dr. Evil impression, that really laid the seeds of alleged hatred between the two actors. The reality is, in my research, both Carvey and Myers have always spoken positively about each other, publicly at least. And the two seemingly have buried the hatchet, recently reuniting for updated Wayne's World sketches, as well as an anniversary panel for Wayne's World by the Motion Picture Academy. So while the two actors did seemingly have some creative beef, it was really only director Penelope Spheeris who was never afraid to mince words about working with Mike Myers. He was emotionally needy and got more difficult as the shoot went along. You should have heard him bitching when I was trying to do that Bohemian Rhapsody scene. I can't move my neck like that. Why do we have to do this so many times? No one is going to laugh at that. Now you gotta understand, Spheeris' anger may actually be justified, because she personally believes that even after the success of Wayne's World, Myers specifically made sure that she did not come back to direct the sequel. And this clearly didn't sit well with her. I hated that bastard for years, but when I saw Austin Powers, I went, I forgive you, Mike. She pauses, voice choked with emotion. You can be moody, you can be a jerk, you could be things that other of us can't be, because you are profoundly talented, and I forgive you. And while it's impressive that Spheeris is letting it go and forgiving Mike, Mike has done the same thing. I'm incredibly grateful for Penelope Spheeris' contributions on Wayne's World. Some 17 years later, and the movie is still a bright highlight in my professional career. It is clear that the three of these people did not creatively always get along while shooting, but they made something magical. This is something that's also touched upon by Penelope on the DVD commentary.
I had to shoot this movie 3 different ways. I had to shoot it my way, Dana's way, and then I had to shoot it Mike's way. And I had like all these different alternatives that I could use in the cutting room. And I did that really to keep the peace, you know, because there was often times Mike wanted to do it one way, Dana wanted to do it a different way. And sometimes there was a conflict there. And so rather than having to be the mean person that made the decision on who had the best way, I would shoot it both ways, which is really difficult in a 34-day shoot.
This idea of shooting multiple versions of the script only managed to give her even more options in the edit bay.
But I knew that once I was in the editing room, I would have the power to do the thing that I thought was best. And it wasn't always my way that was really the best. And actually, it's good to have choices.
These two comedic geniuses, Dana Carvey and Mike Myers, were born at Saturday Night Live, which is the most competitive comedy environment I can think of. Lorne Michaels literally pits these people against each other. So of course there were creative riffs. But that only made this film that much better, because both of those people wanted to succeed. Both of those actors were giving everything they could to ensure that the best stuff ended up on screen.
Lorne breeds fierce competition on Saturday Night Live. As a matter of fact, that's what I was talking about when I said, when I go to New York, I get like pangs of fear because of the competition that I experienced in working on that show. Ultimately, it's actually a very productive, I think, way to work. You know, there's bitterness that results sometimes, but you know what? You step up. If you've got the goods, you step up. It's like survival of the fittest.
And you can't discredit Penelope Spheeris' involvement as a judge, as a mediator, as a director who was able to figure out which of those scenes was worth keeping and which one of those scenes was not.
This is the scene, actually, by the end of the shoot, we had to shoot this thing like 17 different ways to make everybody happy. All these different jokes. See, watch, Mike's going to really crack up here. See, this is what happens when an actor is really tired. He's like, they're losing it, you know? But it's great because it's realistic.
So clearly these three didn't get along. There was a lot of pressure on Mike Myers to deliver this. You gotta step back and think about this for a second. Mike Myers creates the character of Wayne Campbell as a sketch on Saturday Night Live. He asks his friend and popular colleague at the time, Dana Carvey, to play his sidekick, with the only direction that was,
all Mike told me was that I really worship Wayne. That was my main thing, is to be the guy who worships him.
This skit then blows up, and suddenly these two actors, who were not a comedy duo, are linked together forever in this film. A film that neither of these actors wants to become a failure. There's so much pressure on this film to deliver that they were constantly rewriting the script as they were shooting. I would stand there shooting and they would hand me pages that required new sets and wardrobe for a scene I was shooting right now.
When I walked in the door over at Paramount, it was like they were fixating on the look of the piece, and they were going, oh, we got to make a whole world for him, and it's got to be like bigger than life. And I'm listening to all this stuff going, what the hell are you guys talking about? You know, just pick the damn street, pick the damn car, dress them up, and let's rock, you know? But it was like, when you're nervous about doing the show, because it's like so much responsibility, you like fixate on little crap that don't matter. And so it was like weeks and weeks and weeks, and I'm bored. I could stack this room up with pictures of neighborhoods that Mike had to look at to figure out what neighborhood would be his neighborhood. Finally, I just decided I'm gonna get someplace close to my house, screw it. And it didn't matter. I mean, once we started shooting, it was a dopey looking house on a dopey looking street, you know?
think about the pressure of Mike Myers, who gets the shot to take his sketch character from Saturday Night Live into feature film territory, with the dream to eventually create one of these, a character that lives on decades later. And he succeeded, but he didn't succeed himself. He needed him too, and he needed Penelope as well. The rivalry between Dana Carvey and Mike Myers, the rivalry between Penelope Spheeris and Mike Myers, it all created a point to make a better film. All three parties were working together to ensure they put the best product out there. And that is why Wayne's World was the success that it was. Did Mike Myers and Dana Carvey hate each other? Maybe a little bit. But it seems today they finally realized that they could not have made that film by themselves.
Later on in your career, you realize how great it is to have someone who cares that much. So when I had Mike next to me, I was always comfortable because someone was really, really working his ass off.
And their potential challenges and rivalries on set clearly made the film better. And that is time. Thanks so much for watching here on Movie World. Be sure to subscribe for future movie analysis. This is a channel where we're going to cover all sorts of movies. Not the obvious Marvel, Star Wars, DC stuff, but all your favorite movies. So if you got a movie or theory you want me to address in a future video, please comment down below. Again, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and stay tuned for more movie theories.